Log cabin quilt blocks make a great border for a medallion style quilt. Today I will share the process of making a custom quilt and the stitching designs I chose for Emily's tree. I'm Andy and this is True Blue Quilts, a place to enjoy, experiment, and excel as you quilt. As a long arm quilter and pattern designer, I sometimes take on commission projects and make a quilt from start to finish. My friend Emily wanted a quilt featuring a tree, so we started looking at different designs. Emily searched Pinterest, and I got to work with my computer design software to lay out a design that matched her vision. I constructed the center tree design with squares and half-square triangles. This is based on one of the images we saw on Pinterest, but I could not find the original designer. If you recognize this pattern, please send me a message so I can give them proper credit. For the border, I rotated the log cabin blocks to form peaks and valleys, which surround the tree and highlight the center panel. You can customize a border to fit any size quilt. Just add blocks for a larger quilt, or add strips to a pre-printed panel or your center motif to make it work with your border blocks. You can find a tutorial for making log cabin blocks linked in the video description below. The quilt top is ready for some custom stitching. Stay tuned for a demonstration. A meandering leaf design works for the darker half of the log cabin blocks. I stitched a heart in the center of all the blocks, and my favorite flame stitch fills in the lighter half of the border. One of the ways that I practice free motion quilting is by printing my quilt block on a piece of paper and drawing the designs that I want to use. So to illustrate, I used 3 different colors of thread in the log cabin quilt, and I just started in one corner and drew a heart for that center block. For the darker half of the block, I used a leafy vine. So I would start off the edge of my block and start my leaf. I travel for a little bit and then I make a leaf shape, and then I travel some more and try to build the leaf off the other side of the stem. And then my leaves can go anywhere in the quilt that I want. I try to vary their direction a little bit so it just looks really random and fills all the space. And then I can travel to the next area or the next block. In the lighter half of the block, I followed this center line and used my flame stitch. So I started in this bottom corner, traveled up a little bit, and then made my flame in that area, pretending that this is like the center flower and you're framing that flower with these stitching lines. Travel back down along your stem, wavy lines, and it's up to you with these wavy lines. It's up to you how many you include. Obviously my marker is a little bit thicker than my stitching lines would be. I think I had a couple lines going in each block because this area was about 2 inches on my finished quilt. And that just gave some nice texture to the log cabin block. Green fabrics, the idea of trees made it very easy to pick a leaf pattern. hearts in the center for that log cabin, that homey feel, and then the wavy lines to fill out the lighter areas of the quilt. For a special personalized touch, I stitched a poem that had special meaning for the recipient. I used the same cream thread as the rest of the background, but I did trace over each letter several times, so the words stand out a little bit when you see the quilt in person. Custom quilting allows us to add a lot of meaningful details to our quilts, such as the poem I included for Emily. Have you ever added words to your quilt? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. I'm happy to report that Emily loved the finished quilt. I have a whole playlist with more free motion quilting ideas, so check out those videos. Next week, I will be sharing some improv quilt blocks. I'll see you in that next video.